As of Monday, I have put 15 to 20 hours into trying to get my Moodle course integrated with Perusall for the spring. I'm teaching two asynchronous courses, but I also want my to use it for reading in my main courses. And similar to Suda, I'm encountering a lot of the decision making sort of points where I have to decide how much to rewrite my rubric and how much to use the surveillance technologies of Perusall, which are, seem like it's interesting because there's a certain amount of trust in the AI features, but I can also use Perusall's tracking tools to at least see how much time my students are spending in a document, where they're spending time in a document, how often they're spending time in the document. And to me, um, especially these days with AI summary tools that my students seem to be using in Moodle type posts, even when I ask them to give personal, sort of creative responses and things like that, I think this will be a lot better. The accountability will be higher. And I partly applied to this grant because in the asynchronous courses, it can feel so kind of cavernous to do these readings. Like uh it's dispiriting to feel like you don't understand something even after you've spent several hours with it. Um, and in some cases, I don't believe that my students are spending even an hour or even 30 minutes with a text. So to be able to sign into a place to read with other people and in real time, sometimes see other people in that space. I can imagine that this will be a really useful tool. So I have built most of okay. I have some of the things out of the way in terms of, am I screen sharing? Yes, I think I am. Where is my screen? It's over here. So right now, the course that you're looking at is a kind of a biomedical ethics course. It's an STS course, and I think the first week of this course is going to be dedicated to learning figuring out how to go between Perusall and Moodle and what to do when you're in both spaces. I do think that because the assignments I'm doing with the asynchronous group are fairly straightforward, like for instance, I want them to read and comment on readings and think about readings, and then I want them to do case study analysis, and there's like three of those, and then they do a final project. And I'm kind of trying to keep the course simple that way so that they are, so that the cognitive load is not on interacting with the course, it's on the actual course content and, um, you know, sort of the group and individual critique. So I think the first week is, I think it's okay to have sort of a pass-fail assignment where they're mostly introducing themselves. I don't think that's too much. And then when we get into the course, the first type of assignment, I used to call it a forum on Moodle. I'm calling it a module in Perusall, which um, it seems like there's basically two types of assignments you can do in Perusall. You can have them annotate a document and make substantive and sort of like reactive comments, responsive comments in the document in Perusall. Or you can have them do a kind of peer review assignment where they submit something and then they uh, comment on a peer and have a peer comment on their own assignments. Is that right?
Yes, those are the two sort of main purposes. And then there's kind of like we were talking about the yellow dig earlier. Then there's like ways you can work around that or different ways to define text. And you can also put in podcast or videos for that annotation.
Yeah, so right now I think it's mostly a text-based class with the exception of like a movie review that they go find their own movie and review it. So there's really like no reason for me to bring in another well, I don't have that many videos and other types of media, but I have some audio, so we'll see what I do with that if that becomes part of the commenting part. But in any case, the first type of assignment is the type of assignment where they are reading, and then I want them to comment and comment on each other's comments. And then the second type of assignment is where they're hosting something. Sorry, I don't know how to get out of this. Oh, yeah. So where it's kind of more of a workshop, but they do it on their own, where um, oops, that's not it. I'm already lost. There it is. Okay, so basically they have to answer a bunch of questions, but in order to make this, so this used to be in Moodle just an assignment that they posted and then I graded because I didn't really have like a streamlined way for them to interact with each other on these wall post type assignments. But I called them wall posts even though they weren't seeing each other's assignments because I just didn't really understand that much about Moodle in the first place, and was just designing the course as I went. So, oops. So for this change, I think I am going to basically run the course in Perusall using these features, but it's interesting that you can't have students just post something, it looks like in an assignment. Like you have to have them also comment on something. So this is something I'm trying to figure out, like if I always want them to comment on each other's assignments, um, and if I don't want them to comment on each other's assignments, then it seems like I have to go back to Moodle for that particular assignment. But for the most part, I think this will work to solve a lot of my problems.